Hello everybody, welcome back to the Advanced Vape channel. Today we're going to be taking a look at the GLAZ, or glass, however you want to say it. I'm tempted to say glass because glass sounds stupid, but the GLAZ RTA from STEAMCRAVE. It's a 30mm RTA with a lot of glass, if the name doesn't give it away. So here it is. If you can see, the inner glass is the chimney, and the outer glass, the juice kind of goes between the two, so you can actually see down to your build, and that's sort of the big aesthetic thing with this tank. It looks a little bit different than other STEAMCRAVE tanks. The airflow just looks a little bit different. It's bottom air this time instead of direct air. And the top fill is very different. If you see, there's a little notch there, and it just pushes back. And it's kind of like a smoke tank style fill, except it doesn't suck. I don't like the smoke style fill at all, and I was really skeptical of this, but it works well. So before we go into talking about the deck and building on it and stuff, I'm just going to take a quick second to talk about the glass, because that seems to be what most people have a problem with on this tank. The glass is threaded into the metal, which makes it very fragile. When I was just now taking this apart to clean it for this review, I accidentally broke the first glass. So I'm being really careful with this glass, and I'm going to take it apart and kind of show you what I did. To try and make sure that I don't break this one. So as you can see, it kind of looks like a jar. It's threaded on there. Just trying to be really gentle. That's the outer glass, and here's the chimney, and this is not screwed in. It's just held in by an O-ring. Okay, so it comes with two glasses. Here's the one that broke at the threads. It was screwed in there tight as it came from the factory, and I wasn't particularly gentle with it. But yeah, you just got to be aware of that if you go to take it apart all the way. So it also comes with a plastic one, and I ended up using this. If you can tell, it's kind of yellowed at the sides, and I'll show you what I did. I put a big drop of juice. I just happen to be using a juice that's kind of dark colored. I put a big drop of juice on it. And I just threaded it on back and forth. To spread all that juice around. And I did the exact same thing on the bottom section. So I'll go on and put it back together very gently with the glass. And this inner chimney has to be on first before you put this on. Really huge STEAMCRAVE logo there. That doesn't really bother me, but I'm sure that it bothers some people. Okay, I'm not really going to put this down, just finger tight. Okay, so that's the top section. Got a little bit of juice everywhere, but the glass isn't broken, so I don't really care. Okay, so the bottom section, the part that I really care about, the build deck. As you can see, the build deck, it's like an interesting X shape with the posts sort of offset into these X's, and the airflow looking very reminiscent of the Reload. That's immediately what I thought when I looked at this. It's sort of a modified Reload. It's very different than all the other STEAMCRAVE tanks that I've tried. I've used the Aromizer Plus a lot, and I use the Titan, the Aromizer Supreme, the original Aromizer, all of those, and they're very different to this. one way that it kind of departs from the reload, just in the way that the posts are screwed in a little bit, and the wicking. It uses, of course, the aromizer style wicking with the holes drilled into the bottom and juice welling up instead of how it was on the reload, which was kind of side feeding. So I can tell from this airflow that it's more restricted, and that's been kind of confirmed by me using it. It's nowhere near as airy as the Aromizer Plus, so you have to keep that in mind. And for today's build, I'm going to put the exact same build in here that I put in the reload, except I'm going to add one wrap because this is a little bit bigger. It's 30 millimeters. So normally I do 5 wrap unframed staples, and I'm going to do 6 wrap on here. So that should fit pretty nicely. So I'm going to go on and throw this build on here, and then we'll talk a little bit more and go through the dry fire. Okay, so 6 wrap just barely fit in here, and 5 wrap would have fit in here fine. You're not going to fit really big coils in here, so this is probably the upper limit on size. I probably could have done 5 just as well. Even though it's a 30 millimeter tank, this is not a huge coil kind of tank. I think it would work just as fine with much smaller coils in there. Okay, so STEAMCRAVE recommends that the coils are lifted up away from the airflow just a little bit. From me testing this, I don't really notice that big of a difference, so this is where I'm going to put them. Okay, and now we'll go through the dry fire. Okay, so I've been testing this for about a week, and I've tried a few different wicking styles, and they seem like they wick fine. Looking through the chimney, it looks like they're not wicking very much, but I feel like that's probably juice coming back down the glass, you know, half-burnt juice that came up the chimney and dripped back down onto the wicks, and it kind of darkens them, especially if some juices do that more than others. So I haven't really had any issues with the wick speed. I'm going to wick it the same way that I've been lately, which is cutting it short and just laying it on top instead of using a lot of cotton. And I'm going to be using native platinum on this one. So not dense on the cotton at all, just laying on top of those holes pretty well, blocking them off but not jamming it down in there. And there we are with it fully built. The glass is just a little bit cloudy because of the juice thing that I did, where I was juicing the glass so it didn't break. So top fill works really well. It doesn't oversaturate or flood when you fill it up. And as you can see the entire build area really well. And one of the things that I really love about that is you can see right there how saturated your wicks are, and that really tells you whether or not it's wicking fast enough. I normally look for just a little bit of juice along the wall like that. Not a lot, just a little bit, exactly how it looks there. That tells me that the wicks are plenty wet. kind of right where I want them to be. If it was more than that, it would be leaking. So I'm going to do this at 120 watts with the airflow all the way open. So the chamber does get pretty cloudy after you vape it, obviously, but it clears back up. The worst you kind of get is some condensation drops like that. The first thing that I notice, I think I have the wattage up just a little bit too high. I'm going to put it down to maybe 110. The first thing I notice is the similarity to the reload in terms of the flavor. The airflow amount is maybe just a little bit more than the reload, but it's that same restricted draw. And even though it feels more open than the reload, it has that restricted, real dense feel to it. This is the only RTA that I've had other than the reload that gives that effect that I really like. And if you know anything about me, you know that I absolutely love the reload. So anything that is on that level, I'm gonna really like. In terms of flavor, I would say it's still just a tiny bit under the reload, but it's very close. It's really good. I don't think that I'm really saying anything outrageous by saying this is the best RTA that STEAMCRAVE has come out with by a long shot in terms of flavor and performance for me. I absolutely love the way that this vapes. I really like being able to see your build in there and see the wicks. Lets you know when you need to change them, which has been more often than I need to on the reload for whatever reason. They don't seem to last that long in here. The top fill works great. It doesn't oversaturate like the reload can sometimes. The airflow, it feels smooth and concentrated. It really does vape like the reload. There's a little bit of a difference there, but it's way closer than anything else STEAMCRAVE made, for sure. If you like the other STEAMCRAVE tanks, without a doubt, give this a try. It's a no-brainer for me. This is an awesome tank. The main problem that people seem to be having is the broken glass. Like I mentioned, I broke one of the glasses. Just be gentle with it and do the thing with the plastic that I mentioned earlier, lubricating the threads. If worse comes to worse and you break both the glasses, you still have the plastic tank back there. So it's not a huge deal. I think it's an okay trade-off to make to be able to have the glass chimney. So I haven't seen a glass chimney like this that works this well. I've had another one in the past, the Alaria, if anybody remembers that tank. That had a glass chimney as well, but it was a much smaller tank. The performance was nowhere near on this level. I really have nothing bad to say about the way that this performs. I really love this tank overall. If you like 30mm RTAs, if you like the reload or want something bigger, without a doubt buy this. It's just worth picking up if you like big RTAs, without question. I've tried a few different builds in here. I know that I put stuff towards the bigger end normally, but small builds work fine in here too because of that restricted airflow. So it's got a little bit of flexibility to it that a lot of 30mm RTAs don't have. It doesn't hold a whole lot of juice. Not a big deal for me. The top fill works great, which I was a little bit worried about. But it works great, and compared to the last few tanks that STEAMCRAVE has come out with, it's miles ahead. So they really did a great job putting this tank together. So yeah, this is easily in my list of the best RTAs right now. Definitely give it a shot if you're in the market for something new. So that'll bring us to the end of this video about the GLAZ I'm just going to say GLAZ from now on. The GLAZ RTA from STEAMCRAVE. If you like this video on our channel, give us a like and subscribe. And as always, if you have any questions, leave them below in the comments or send me an email. Thanks.